Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I thought we'll go through some of the changelogs that have come out the last few days. Obviously, with the major updates, usually there is a bunch of bug fixes that come in after that major update comes out, and this one is no different. There was a really bad game-breaking bug, but they fixed it within a few hours of the game being out. Well, sorry, the update being out, so at least that's sorted. And to be honest, at least for me, after I finished work yesterday and started playing, there wasn't really too many issues. I generally thought everything was going pretty good. I had a few frame issues in certain areas, especially when it came to some of the new maps, but you know, that's understandable. Usually that stuff takes a bit of time to increase the performance. But what I'd like to ask is, how has your experience been so far if you've been playing? I played some of the new vehicles. We played the Harry Hopkins and also the AMDs. I'll be doing some videos on them later on just to kind of give my opinions, and I'm also working towards the Mr. S, which should be quite fun. But in this video, let's have a look at the updates. Let's see what went on. And as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe. Let's get started. So the first update was update 2.45.0.10. This came out pretty much about 4 or 5 hours after the major update, and it fixed a lot of bugs with a lot of the little maps, and also some weird and wonderful things. So first of all, the Su-33. There was a bug with the landing gear animation that caused some pieces to clip through the plane has been fixed. It was kind of funny actually to see. Generally, I don't like talking about bugs before they're fixed. Sometimes if it's like a bug that's been out for like months and months and months, then I generally find it's okay. But like taking cheap shots when it comes to a major update coming out, I don't really get a lot of enjoyment out of it, because stuff like this gets fixed so quickly it don't really matter. But if you've seen screenshots of it, it is kind of funny. Basically, the basically somehow on the Su-33, which didn't come in this update, it actually came in a previous update, the landing gear were upside down, so it actually protruded through the top of the aircraft instead of the bottom, which is quite interesting. There was also another bug which was fully game breaking, and this affected the FA-18s, unfortunately. So it affected the FA-18A and the FA-18C early, all of the variants of the AV-8B+, and also, weirdly enough, the F4F KWSLV, or the F4F ICE. There was a bug that caused the game to crash when launching radar homing missiles, and that's been fixed on all those vehicles. So basically, you would fire a missile and the game would instantly crash, which is quite a severe game-breaking bug, especially when you take into account one of the vehicles was a very hyped premium vehicle, so people will have started playing it, and then bonk, you would have been kicked out the game straight away. But, as I said, they fixed that pretty quick, within about 4 or 5 hours, and that's pretty standard for a bug like that. For ground vehicles, there was a bug that caused vehicles to excessively slide on rocky surfaces. That's been fixed. It's been interesting to talk about the soapy rocks. So basically, back in the day, there was an issue with ground vehicles where a lot of them were billy goating. I remember on the 38th parallel, one of the things you could actually do is you were able to get on top of the dam if you wanted to. And there's a bunch of other maps where you could basically just climb onto the rocks. So what Gadget did is they reduced the friction on the rocks, so therefore you would slide off of them, or reduce the friction on a lot of surfaces, so you would slide off of them. And then people got annoyed at that because they went on about the unrealistic part of it and how, you know, tanks should have more grip than they do. So then what they did is they reverted that change after a while and then started adding in map fixes to be able to try and deal with the positions where people were going. That didn't work because people just found other positions, so then they just started straight up making areas of the map out of bounds, which of course has led to what we have now, where there's a lot of maps which just have weird areas completely out of bounds, And now, after this update, they've once again introduced the friction thing again. So they're really trying to get people to fight in their specific places and to go specifically forward with them. And that, to me, I think is really cool, because, they're trying to get people to play how they want them to play. And the problem with that is it means that there's not a lot of originality, but also, as a person who's been around in War Thunder for a long time, one of the biggest issues the game has is broken positions that people just can kind of take with specific vehicles and ruin the matches with. So if they're trying to address that, that's good. And a lot of these map changes and a lot of these changes do that. But also, I'm hoping that this is a temporary thing with the soapy rocks, so they can get some of the areas fixed that they want to fix, and then kind of move on from there. The XM246, there was a bug that caused the tracking radar dome to move when the turret was aimed vertically. That's been fixed. The Rapier also went through a bunch of stuff. Basically, the Mark II missile, they massively increased its potency. This is the upgraded missile that you can get on the Rapier. First of all, it was increased to 35G overload, and also the speed was increased to Mach 2.5, and the range was increased to 8.2 kilometers. What a lot of people have pointed out, though, is even though the Mark II missile is in a really nice place, the first missile that you get on the vehicle is not. It's actually in a really poor place, and it takes a lot of time to actually hit targets and also kind of take them out. You have to actually hit a target multiple times for it to nuke itself, at least in the test drive. This was something that I saw in on the dev server too. Sometimes the missiles just wouldn't do anything. We'll have to see if that changes or whether it's really supposed to be like that. The explosive mass isn't huge, but I still think it should be doing more damage. On locations and missions, there was Advance the Rhine, a bug where the detailed cathedral building was only displayed at low altitudes for aircraft has been fixed. I've actually seen that. It was weird. I don't know what was going on, but yeah, once again, fixed within a few hours. And then Kamchatka, there was a bug that caused Allied air defense vehicles to appear on the runway. That has been fixed, and that one obviously would be a bit of a problem. They've also added support for DLSS 4, so people who have very high-end graphics cards can see that stuff. There was also a bug that caused the feed from the UAV to turn white if the player turned on night vision, while the tank and thermal while in the UAV has been fixed, so that's quite nice. So you don't blind yourself. And also a bug that caused aircraft launched rockets and missiles to not have the cumulative and high explosive armor penetration values in the stat card has been fixed. So once again, the stat card telling porkies. Overall, this was, a good update and fixed a lot of the very early on issues that were in the game. And then there was an update today which dealt with some more issues that have come along with the major updates. Not as many though, and also not as game breaking, so a little bit easier. Basically, this is update 2.45.0.12, which turned up. First of all, we had the MiG-29s. There was a bug that caused the afterburner to be disabled in maneuver mode, and that's been fixed. How are people finding the maneuver mode, by the way? I really don't see too much of a use in it, apart from in very specific kind of one-on-one situations, but who knows? Maybe somebody will figure out how to use it and have a good time with it. The Harrier T-10, the engine name on it was corrected, which is always good. The F-100s, the F-1 and T-2s, the Super Mystère and the Sambad, there was a bug that caused the engine to quickly overheat at high altitudes, and that has been fixed. So overall, that's good. Scout UAVs, there was also the radar cross-section has been increased by 0.005 meters squared. The problem with this is you still won't be able to hit the damn things. The Scout UAVs are so annoying to deal with because it's just impossible to actually take them down. Once you hit them, they go down pretty quickly, but actually hitting them is the problem. There's not many guns that can do it, and hardly any missiles that can either. There was also a bug that caused the MFD weapon screen as well as the HUD, HMD to display weapons from previous spawns if the current spawn was without any secondary weapons, so that's been fixed too. And even for Naval, there was some fixes. So with the Northampton, there was a bug with water pumping that caused the ship to flood faster. Instead, has been fixed. So so instead of pumping out the water, you'd be pumping it in. Always like problems like that. And then also a bug that caused the stat card to display only one depth charge type instead of all of the ones that were equipped. That's been fixed too. The frequency of voice lines that describe firing results has also been reduced, which is pretty nice to see. And a bug that caused vehicles to be visible through smoke in the UAV camera in thermals has been fixed. God damn. So they literally were the ridiculous, overpowered things that a lot of people think, including me. A bug that caused the UAV camera as well to not display in the DirectX 12 API in old video card support mode has been fixed, so they've done that too. I'm actually gonna give DirectX 12 a go today. I heard yesterday it's a little bit more stable than what we've seen previously, and that's basically all I've been asking for with DirectX 12. I do want to take advantage of all the stuff that you see in DirectX 12 and also all the ray tracing stuff, but I can't because it just breaks everything as I go around, and that sucks because I do have a pretty high-end graphics card. I do have a system which is not exactly being hugely tasked by War Thunder or by anything else that's kind of going on, but if it don't work, it don't work, and it's just really sad, at least to me, that that's what's happening. Hopefully they can get it fixed. Hopefully they can, you know, get it so it's more optimized, which of course would be a lot more fun. And then hopefully it can work for all the family as all of these things go. So those are the kind of little changelogs that we have going on right now, and I'm sure there'll be many more going forward. Usually during these updates, Gaijin are pretty quick in terms of trying to deal with the issues that the updates create, so hopefully you guys will be patient with it, and if there are any issues that you're running into, make sure to let Gaijin know, so therefore they can get them fixed. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.